What's up, YouTube? Back again with another video. Today's video, man, this is going to be the first episode in the podcast series. So, unfortunately, you will see in this video that there is no audio from anyone else, just me. There was me and two other people, Swervo and Jarules, but unfortunately, their voices weren't picked up. So, I'm going to leave this upload for 57 minutes of everything I was talking about in the podcast. If you guys want to listen to their side of the story, all the links will be down below, which they'll be uploading the full version on their channels soon. So, again, sorry that there's no sound on their end, but again, they'll be uploading their versions, which will have my volume and their volume. So, I don't know how I'm gonna do in the future, but for the time being, I think this is how I do it. But this was a 2 hours thing. I've only been uploading 60 minutes. The rest will be on their channels. So, enjoy. You can go first. Oh, you want me to go first? I can. Okay. Well, I'm Blake, aka LS, and I am a YouTuber as well as a owner of a clan. So that's just me. You go ahead, Jules. Yeah, I'm the same way. I played Lost and Damned and Gay Tony. That was the only GTA I played before 5. Like, I never touched. I mean, obviously, since then, I've touched, like, San Andreas and stuff, but, like, prior to 5, like, I only touched 4. I didn't touch any of the other OGs. That's how you know a game's old, when it's on the DS. Last time I had a DS, I was playing SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, it's the last time I played the DS. Well, you know what though, man? I've seen some crazy shit. I seen a guy, he did a trick shot during the beta for MW3 with a flute. Like, I mean, nothing is gonna be surprising anymore. Like nothing. I mean, they make controllers for people that don't even have arms. Like, kind of mental. I watched a guy on TikTok who plays with his mouth. Like, it's kind of mental. I mean, yes, technically he didn't set it up because he doesn't have arms. Yeah, no, I'm not touching that kid's controller. Got me fucked up. And by the way, to anyone watching this, I'll voice this real quick, just so everyone knows too, that we have not talked together, all three of us at once like this before. This is all new. So we're gonna probably be really cringy in the beginning, like talking over each other or cutting each other off in their statements, but that will get better as this continues and we get to kind of feel each other out a little bit in how we communicate, and that'll adjust over time. So should we get into COD stuff? Do we wanna talk about each other? Like, do we wanna tell our stories, or do we wanna just like talk about random stuff in COD? We can always work on that. Well, it's because spawns are more random. That's the biggest reason. And in old CODs, it was really easy to learn the spawns, and a more modern day CODs is a lot more random based. So even trying to learn it nowadays, you have to almost predetermine where those random spawns can be. Even on the new maps in MW3, there's a recent thing that was published by a couple of different people who were talking about it, where if you remember Favela in the OG games, it would spawn you on the back sides of the spawns, depending on how the map was being played. Well, now it likes to want to spawn you from side to side instead of long ways, which completely breaks the map. And why that map felt so shit in the beta, it was because it wasn't spawning you the correct way. It was using modern day spawn tactics, which is why it was the biggest reason why it was not as enjoyable to say as. Well, at least a good thing for you ranked players. Majority of the maps, if not all the maps in ranked, are the same system for spawns. Us pub players, you guys that play Reg MP, we have more random spawns because we're playing a larger pool of maps. So that's the only difference. Even though the maps they give you guys for ranked are dog shit, but they should give you some better maps. Like there's so many better maps that you guys could have gotten. Like imagine playing Shoe House on ranked play. That'd be insane. Yeah, because all the annoying stuff in pubs and would be there. I love a bag of Fortress, but every time I play that map on ranked, I just want to cry. Let's say I haven't gone over me yet, so I can go real quick if you want me to. So like I mentioned before, I'm a little bit older than I would say majority of the fan base now. Um, because a lot of the guys coming into the scene are like younger guys are like 15, 14, 16, 18 even. Meanwhile I'm 21, so I've been in the COD scene for a while, but I started when I was right around 4 years old. Same with Swervo. But I started off gaming for I think a separate reason compared to I think most. I started off with the 360. I got it from my dad from one of his coworkers who was getting rid of it, and my very first Xbox 360 game ever was a Civil War History Channel game because I was huge into history. Um, and I love learning about different countries and their start and how they formed and all that type of stuff. So I got the Civil War game. It was an old shooter game, and if you play it now, it's like a whole different universe of video games. Um, and then when I got my PS3, I started playing COD, and then I played kind of shitty for most of my life at COD during the early days. And then MW2 came out, and that changed everything for who I was and what I was going to become. when I dropped the milestone of 3,000 nukes on MW2, which was a grind. And then that really just sparked the love for Call of Duty that I had. And over the next couple of years, I would continuously grow and I would play harder and harder and harder. And I actually stopped paying attention to school altogether, which got me in a lot of trouble with my parents because I was gaming nonstop. Like I would go to school, fake I was sick, come home, hop on the game system, and then I would be up till wee hours in the morning playing. I would get up in the morning, fake I was sick, and this whole process would continuously happen repeatedly. Around Advanced Warfare, I started having issues with my PS3 and also having issues at school, which obviously, being who I was at the time, was not a very good combination. My PS3 actually burnt, so a lot of people ask me why I don't have my account from PS3. It's because I was an idiot and didn't remember the information, and my PS3 literally burnt. Like the insides burnt, like from overuse. It's the only system I've ever burned, like I ever killed. All my other systems, I either break them from rage or like I just don't have them anymore. But like they've never. That was the only one I've ever burnt. So I got the PS4 Black Ops 3 edition, same as you, J Rules, and that was a crucial moment for me as a person, really, because I had a one chance at getting that console because we were like at the store and my mom was like, fine, I'll get it for you if it's here. And on the website, it said there was none left in stock. So I was going off like the 1% chance there would be a system. And at the back of the shelf behind I think it was a standard PS3 at the time was in the store still, was a PS4 sitting with the orange symbols on it. And I was like, fuck yeah. And I played really hard, especially when Black Ops 3 and Infinite and World War II came out, and that was when I started my YouTube. And that for me was like the biggest moment, and I started LS Clan around the summer of, I want to say Advanced Warfare, might be a little earlier than that, right before I had my PS4. So there's about a year period where I was not doing any content with my LS Clan. At that point, it was named something else. I don't even remember what it is at this point. But during World War II's life cycle, I changed it to LS Clan, and that's kind of what I've been doing ever since then. I've kind of just been focusing on that YouTube and LS Clan. That's kind of why I'm not in the competitive scene no more, because it's really, really hard in today's world to grow a clan, a YouTube, a Twitch, all at the same time and do comp. It's too much at once, and I feel like the competitive scene isn't as good as it used to be. The players aren't as good, and the maps, the weapons, overall, the experience was not as good as what it was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, or even as early as 5 years ago, even. So that's just a little bit about me. I mean, as much as I hate PC players, no offense to y'all, um, there is an underlying hatred just PC players because they seem to ruin everything they touch, almost in a way. But my biggest concern with the competitive scene would be stripe hackers. A lot of people keep forgetting that those things exist, and they're becoming such a large problem in the community in general. Not even just ranked. I mean, I fight a stripe hacker almost every other game on MP, if not every match. There's someone using some type of modded controller. They're so common, especially in older CODs. For example, Black Ops 4. The competitive scene on there was just full of stripe hackers, mainly because that was the prime. That was like stripe hacking was becoming the thing to do. Like that was everywhere. So I think it's more of lines of like the developers not understanding what skill is, and then the other half of the community just being toxic in a way and ruining others' experiences. I think is what eventually led me down the line of just kind of pulling out from that area. because I can do the same thing I would do in ranked on multiplayer, and I have more to earn. So I look at it that way. Like I'm not really losing anything. You know, I can still play with comp players. You know, I don't have to stop playing with them because I don't play comp or anything like that. Right. Yeah. I mean, because you look at the top 250. We have a top 250 is a perfect example of that. Like the amount of time it takes you to get to 250 is insane. Then to hold the top 250 is insane. Because someone said this in the Discord recently, and that kind of made me chuckle. They were like, the top 250 players were teaching them how to play or whatever. And it made me laugh because 90% of the top 250 players are either cheaters or strikebackers. 90%. If you look at the list and you watch how they play, 90% are not legit because everyone feels they need to cheat. Everyone does. And it's unfortunate because there is a couple good players in the top 250. But unfortunately, they get shrouded by the large amount of toxicness that's there. I think it's a great idea that we have top 250. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the idea of having a top 250. The problem is when you make rewards and you publicize what those rewards are, you encourage them to want to cheat. Right? If you say there may be something at the end of the line for top 250, the people who are willing to risk it to grind it will do that, and the people who are cheaters will be like, well, there's no reason for me to cheat to get there. You know, it, facts. I was watching a TikToker cheating on it at MW3 the other day. Just flat out cheating on TikTok. Didn't give a fuck. Well, a lot of them don't even care. Like I've had talks with people who are like they enjoy just being mean. Like they're like, yeah, I'm cheating, and I'm glad that I'm ruining your experience. Like it's just crazy. Well, they ban them. They're just they can't outban them. It's harder to be more accurate in their shadow bans. They are at the current moment. Like hell, people just shadow ban, try to shadow ban people like me who because I have TTV or YT in my name, all because they just want to pick on someone who's trying to follow a dream or follow, make a business out of something that they enjoy. Like it's crazy. Like the amount of hate I get on a daily basis when I turn my mic on or I'm playing a game is astounding. It's just compared to like this past 5 years since Warzone, the amount of hate I've gotten is not just double, not triple, but quadrupled since Warzone launched. Like before Warzone, people had respect for streamers. They were like, "Oh, this guy's probably good at the game," or "This guy's probably really funny or really nice and chill." Now everyone's like, "He's a cheater. He's an F word. He's gay. He's this. He's a waste of space and all this other craziness." And it's like, come on, man. We're all here playing the game. Some of us want to do more than just play the game. So like, why is that a huge deal? If I'm putting 15 hours in the game, I imagine we'll make it point with our point, you know? Well, it's because you bring politics into people bring politics into their gaming. They bring their sexuality, their like back then. Like what was the biggest thing that people would talk about back then? That was the most crucial. Like what was the most darkest thing that you could think of people would talk about back then, and it was real life relevant. Well, not even that. I'm not saying like just like that, but I'm saying like nowadays I'll go in the lobbies and you can hear people talking about who they voted for or who you support. Back then, the biggest, most political thing you would talk about is, yo, bro, you smoking a joint, dog? Like that was the limit. Like, no, you didn't hear people talking about, oh, did you vote for Obama? Did you vote for Donald Trump? Like that stuff wasn't there. Even now with the names, back then it was yes, it was popular to name yourself after popular figures. Like you have people that are, stealing YouTubers' names. But like nowadays, I can't go into a lobby and not see at least two people who have Joe Biden as their gamer tag, Trump as their gamer tag, Hillary Clinton, porn stars. And I think it's just because we've gotten so, and maybe it's because we're older, so we see it differently. But I think it's also because the younger generation are less, um, what's the right word? I was gonna say neutered, but that doesn't sound right. They're not yet less neutered, but they're less cocooned by the craziness of the world. They're more exposed to it, especially now with the whole Israel and the whole Ukrainian thing happening in Europe. More people are seeing it, and from a younger age. I remember when I was a kid, I was a history buff, and there was things that my mom and dad didn't tell me about, or they didn't show me on the news. If I wanted to, I had to dig for it. And I was a kid, so obviously I wasn't digging for, why did this bombing happen in Boston? Why did the 9/11 towers fall? I wasn't looking that stuff up just for the hell of it. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you got kids looking up like how to build bombs and shit. Like, like the difference in generations, I think, is a crucial problem. And I think that's why there's this battle going on in Call of Duty with the voice chat system they have now being banned for just saying fuck. You can get literally banned for saying fuck, which is insane. Like, which is Call of Duty, where it's an 18 plus game, plain and simple. Or even if they just spam report you, because I've had that happen. I've been banned for 30 days because I sent a guy an emoji of a smiley face because he spam reported it. And I think the the sad truth is too, and it's rubbing off on people like me, the old school crew. Like it's rubbing off on us. Like even now, I find myself for once in a while I hear someone say the N word. Normally that wouldn't bother me, but there's some days where I'm just like, bro, I'm gonna spam report you now. I'm gonna get you shadow banned. Like it's rubbing off on the older generation because we're like for me anyway. I'm like if someone can do that to me, then I'm gonna do it to them. Like eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type of thing. Like if you're gonna pick on me and harass me, then I'm picking you on you and harassing you back. Like obviously that's not healthy to do, and I think everyone who's watching this should, take a second to think about that when you're in that situation. But I think that there is a huge. I think MW3 is a perfect example of what happens when the community is alive and well. Because I was in the beta and I met a couple competitive players. They're diamonds and crimson players on MW2, and they seemed chill. They seemed fine. There was that one or two people in the chat who were trying to talk shit, and we took care of them. We bullied them into the corner, and they kind of muted their mic and stayed quiet the rest of the game. But it reminded me that, like, sure, there is a lot of bad people, not only in the world but in Call of Duty community. That there is still some good people out there. You just have to believe that they're there, and when you do that, you can find them hard enough. speaking of MW3, what was everyone's thoughts of MW3? I have a very unpopular opinion. Let's put it that way. What did everyone else think of it? I would say this isn't a bad COD. There was a disconnect in what we wanted, but what we got. I will say that. But to say MW2 is a bad COD and forget about all the drama and bullshit we dealt with in 2019, and then with Vanguard and with Black Ops 4. And even if I know I'm a fan of XO, I love my XO games, but even if you're a fan of Infinite, or not a fan of Infinite, if you're a hater of Infinite, like, to say this was a bad COD would be, in my opinion, I was saying it's a more of an ignorant way of saying this game. That's my biggest problem with the community right now is I've gotten in so many arguments with people who are like, MW2's trash. And I'm like, well, you still played it. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're right. There's definitely things that this game did worse than MW3. Um, but I think that what MW2 has going for it is that it feels smooth. Something I did not feel in the beta. I know some people are like, well, I got quad feeds, the sniper rifle. Yeah, well, you're using a sniper rifle 25 rounds. So if you don't get a quad feed with it, I'd be more concerned because that's quite literally the most insanely OP sniper I think I've used in recent years. Like, having the ability of 25 rounds, and that's not even the worst thing. It goes up to 45. By the way, I'm not sure if anyone else took notice, but in the beta it was glitched. But there is a 45 round magazine for the sniper rifle, which is insane. That's insane. That's more than SMG start with. Like that's insane. Like, but go ahead. You can go ahead. Well, that's gonna be the way. It's gonna be the same way in the full game too. Yeah, well, that's the same way for the. That was the same. Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely was more OP for Vault Edition buyers, and that's why someone like me, I buy the Vaults when they are available because I know in advance that they're going to be like that. They always want to give you a feeling that your $100 was worth it. Okay, they always do that, right? I mean, MW2. I don't remember MW2's Vault being as OP as in the beta as it was in this game, but I think in this game it felt more OP because there was two vaults and they covered such a large amount of weapons compared to say like MW2's beta, which had what the M4. That was it for the vault. I think the F-Tac Siege might have been in the beta too. So there wasn't like a whole lot of um, options to use those attachments everywhere else. Well, now, yeah, remember V3, you don't have no negative effects to half the attachments. A lot of attachments have had their negative effects either removed or reduced by a large sum. So running red dots and stuff now was not hugely negative as compared to previous years. Yeah, God, I hate the TDK so much. I hate it so much. I bitched about that literally nonstop the entire week it was out. I hated it so much. Um, I get where people are coming from. I suppose one thing I've been trying to learn as a human being is trying to hear out the other side of Call of Duty's fan base, because for most of my life I've always been like, I've been playing longer. I put thousands upon thousands of hours, more hours than you were probably been alive. So obviously that makes my opinion the most valid. But I get that there's another whole side of COD now. There's their younger fan base who I almost have to stop being ignorant in a way and stop being like, I have to understand those kids never got to experience Advanced Warfare's life cycle, or Black Ops 3 life cycle, or Black Ops 2 life cycle, MW3 or MW2's original life cycle. They never got to experience that, so they can't physically comprehend the amount of knowledge as well as just overall feeling about a COD like we do. Like, they don't have that same understanding, and so it's a lot harder. So I get that the TTK and MW2 felt really, really bad. I know a lot of people did not like TTK and MW2, but I do hate to spoil everyone's feelings. The TTK and MW2 is the exact same TTK it's been in every single COD. Okay, the 100 health TTK doesn't change. It's always been there. The only CODs that we've ever had more than 100 health would be Black Ops 4, Cold War, and now MW3. I think Cold War is probably the best out of all three with TTK, because they have a long TTK in Cold War. It's 150, but it feels good. Doesn't feel too long. You know what I'm saying? MW3 definitely feels long. Same problem I have with BO4. Feels super long, which makes the game not necessarily bad. It just doesn't make it fun to grind. Like, why would you want to sit there and put 100 rounds into someone? I felt like, perfect example of this. My first game, my first week of the beta, I was dropping 50 kill games, but it was taking me the whole match to get 50 kills. Meanwhile, on MW2, the first game back on MW2, I dropped 2 choke nukes with 60 kills before the second half of domination. You can't deny the difference when you have a higher skill level, it changes your outlook on what game. Like, I think the problem with MW2 was the body health was fine. The body health, 2 or 3 bullets to the chest, kills you, whatever. The headshot was what their problem was, and I think they ignored that in MW3. The headshots still don't make any logical sense on MW3. So instead of nerfing the headshots, make them a little bit harder to get one-shot headshots, just a little bit. They don't have to make it crazy hard. They didn't do that, and they just said, what are headshots? Fuck it. Make the whole body the same. Let's fuck it. Head to toe. Same health. Doesn't matter. And so there was a lot of times where I felt like you could have won a gunfight had there been like maybe 125, 130 health instead of 150. I think there needs to be a medium to the two, because sure, 100 could be considered easy, even though that's what we've had COD for the last 20 something years. Well, then how do we adjust that? Well, we have to increase it by small increments to see what works. Like, I would have rather them say first week is 150 and second week was 130, and let's see how the community feels about that. I think that would have, because I shouldn't have to run damage attachments on an M4 or an ACR to do well. And that's what I saw. Like, everyone was running the same builds because the same builds helped increase damage, which I think is going to be really annoying for camo grinders if everyone's running the same builds on the same guns. Same problem with the SCAR in MW2. A SCAR is like the same build across the board. Everyone's using it, same build. So it's like, it's counterproductive. That's my rant on TTK. I'm done. Bitches. I think it's the maps, to be honest. Because we're so used to playing old school. Those maps are old. Again, we've been so used to the modern day maps. We're so used to how people play them. People play the same way in MW2, but the way the maps are designed is, when you're pushing inside of MW2 maps, they always flip really easily. So, like, sure, it might seem like, oh, we're taking objectives quicker. You're not. It's just because the map's flipping. So when you do triple cap, you are usually too far in that spawn, and it flips, and they immediately cap the other side. These old school maps, they don't flip. I can't tell you how many times I got stuck in a spawn trap because the game was just not wanting to flip them. For some odd reason, it just didn't want to flip. And when it did flip, they would spawn me like 12 feet away. I was like, it's the opposite side of the building. Like, what the fuck is that going to do? The kid's just going to turn around the corner and pop, I'm dead. You know? And all the maps we had in the beta were open. Rust, extremely open. Favela, extremely open. Skid Row, I think, was the only map in the game that felt good because there was a lot of enclosed areas that you could kind of get behind people and kind of wiggle behind. And then obviously you had High Rise. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sorry to all the OGs out there. High Rise plays like dog shit. I'm sorry. It doesn't play fun. Not with the today's player base. It just does not play fun. No one goes to the same spawns. Yeah, I didn't think that either. I didn't think it looked too good. I think the players blend in too much. There was a guy on the roof and I could barely make him the fuck out, like at all. I was like, yo, there's a dude up there? I didn't see him. Well, we are apparently getting a health bar, apparently. My teammate's sitting there unloading on me, like. Well, kind of piggyback off what you were saying. I don't know if you guys have been watching my pro series that I do on YouTube, but it's basically a series I've been doing to teach people how to play Call of Duty professionally. Since I've been playing professionally for a long time. And that I'm a knowledge person. I don't believe gun skill makes you good at COD. I believe knowledge of the entire game, down to the fundamentals, makes you a skill player. Um, and that's kind of why I'm all for the name tags, the health bars, because it's more knowledge. You can't. It's not a negative impact because if you liked Cold War, I hate to break it to you, but that game had health bars, and that game was really nice because you could see the health bars from a distance. So like, it made you more comfortable to be more aggressive, and I think that's what the fan base needs. It needs to feel that it can be aggressive. I think too many people are so focused on hiding. Because they feel like they're going to be insta-killed or outgunned to some bullshit. But give them that health bar really helps them, I think, understand, like, be a little more confident in their abilities, which is, I think, crucial right now. Because us pro players are becoming very excluded, I think, as a whole. Especially with SPMN. We're being severely excluded from just overall experience. Like, because we're better, to sound narcissistic, because we are better, we are being pushed out in as many ways as they can possibly come up with, via that map design or gun design, damage design, everything, really. I mean, if you played ranked now and you go back and you play game battles back in like Infinite, the player base was so much different. And that's only like 9 years ago. Not even that. I think it's 8. I think King Given a freaking about 8 years ago. So like, it doesn't need, things don't just change over that time from fan base. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people just don't become good. Like, that's just not how that works. Like, becoming good at COD takes years of practice. So like, you don't just, the whole fan base doesn't just become better than us unless they're being literally lifted up on pedestals for them. Like, why are we getting another shield? in MW3. And then we're getting another shield, right? Another one. We saw the leaks, so and that shield looks very different than MW2 shield. Now, fuck it. Fuck that. No. No more shields. Like, I'm so sick of shields. Like, we've had them for the last, like, 6 years straight. Like, we had a shield in World War II. We had a shield in Black Ops 4. We had a shield in Modern Warfare 2019. We had a shield in Vanguard. We had a shield in MW2. We have a shield now in MW3. I think even Cold War. No, Cold War was the only one out of this last couple of years that didn't have a shield. I think. I remember correctly. I don't think it did. Yes, Vanguard had a shield. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, BO4 technically didn't have one. It was a. I'm so scared for Grandma Grind this year. I'm so scared. Because we don't know if it's. Well, like, I think the biggest problem is, like, is it going to be like the amazing MW2 system of camo grinding, or is it going to be like the horrific cancer filled camo grind that is MW 2019? Which is it going to be? If I gotta grind to level 90 on guns, I'm deleting it. Not playing it. I should not. Yeah, there's 10 in total. 5 multiplayer and 5 zombies. Yeah, it's gonna be over 100 guns. Now, I will say, on that leak that you're talking about, there is another leak as well. We actually have the entire leaked list of zombie challenges, and I was reading them, and I feel like every year they try to make me feel stupid. I feel like that's their goal. Every year they're like, how can we make LS feel more retarded? Because there's challenges that are codenamed getting I forgot what one of the challenges was, but it was like getting oh my god, I'm brain farting right now. There was some really weird challenges. They were like talking about specific ways to kill a zombie, but like they were using weird words to describe it. I can't, let me see if I can find it. It was toxic, to say the least. Um, you guys can continue talking if you guys want while I try to look for this, because it could be a hot minute. Well, it's actually really, really, really simple. They're dog shit. No, I'm lying. No. No. So I had this conversation with someone else before, and the biggest reason we're seeing so many changes within the COD companies, not only is Activision have been recently bought out by Xbox, and they will begin the process of Xbox over the next year will be the developers, or at least the paycheck holders of Call of Duty. That means they'll decide what Call of Duty release, what Call of Duty don't release, that type of stuff. So that's going to be huge for the companies too. But they really want to start putting CODs together. So we're seeing this with MW2 and 3. And I'll be surprised if we don't see the next COD game somehow tie in with this game in some way, via gear coming over to this title or something along the lines of that. Because a couple years ago, we had some intel leak about a Call of Duty Online for the world. So if you guys don't know, there was a COD Online for China. It was very, very popular. Unfortunately, got shut down in China and is no longer a form of business over there. And that was ran by, I believe, Raven Software, who made Warzones as well as Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, obviously, we have no COD Online currently. Okay, we have no COD Online. And for those that are watching this that somehow don't know what COD Online is, basically, Call of Duty couldn't sell CODs in China due to choices Call of Duty's made. Put it that way. And they wanted Call of Duty's market wanted to somehow reach into the Chinese market somehow, and then so they came up with a COD Online. It basically had one app had on PC that had every single Call of Duty in one. So it had all the guns, had all the maps from every COD, had different storylines in the COD. They would cycle out, or that would be like the one campaign. And like they had zombies, they had their own battle royale. They had all types of different stuff, and it was really just this hub of Call of Duty content. And they kept updating it, and they had really cool camos. I think they had like Damascus over there before Damascus was even released on the full game of MW 2019, and it was a really cool system, and it felt like a love letter to Call of Duty fans around the world, but only for Chinese people. And so they seemed like they saw it worked, and it was popular, not just popular in China, but it became really popular over here in the States with people like Merc Music playing it, and I think even Jev played it a lot. And so this new era of Call of Duty is, I think, in a way trying to grasp that, which is why we're seeing. And by the way, just a love note here: zombies in this game is made by Treyarch. Okay, it's a misconception that's made by Infinity Ward. It's not. Actually, everything in this game is separate. Sledgehammer has the online, Infinity Ward's running the campaign, Treyarch running the zombies. So yes, they are intertwined with each other. Obviously, all three modes are intertwined. The core feeling of the game will be the same as a Treyarch game, okay? Because it's their developers. The only reason we're getting it on Modern Warfare is because I think they saw that DMZ was not as successful as they thought it was going to be. Especially when they started bringing out the pay-to-win things, like the pay-to-win character slots and bundles. A lot of people boycotted DMZ. I was one, because I will not support pay-to-win. I'll support them in their decisions when it comes down to, like, the black cells. I bought every black cell. I support that because it's actually worth the money. But obviously, I don't want to support pay to win, because why would you want to do that? And so, with these new games, I think they needed an out. And the only way they could get an out is by zombies, because we are supposed to be getting zombies in the next Treyarch title. But usually, how these COD companies usually function is they separate their teams. So, for example, Modern Warfare 2, when it dropped, had half the team it did during its development. The other half the team is beginning the process of working on the future title, usually. So by the time season 3 or 4 came out for MW2, they had already been a couple months deep in the work of the next title for them. So Call of Duty 2025 is already in development, you could say. Same with Treyarch. They've been working on their title, specifically their title, since Cold War. which I think is funny because this is going to be the longest period of time for any company in the history of Call of Duty. They've had almost 3 years to work on this title. So honestly, if the Black Ops 2024 does not become successful, I think it will prove that Treyarch is the lesser of the companies because they've had the largest time frame to build their game. Now, because they split their team in half, they can work on zombies in MW3. But I have a feeling that this MW3 zombie storyline is bigger than anyone can anticipate. They've been really hyping up the story. And so I have a feeling the reason we're getting zombies now is not only to give us a taste of zombies, but to get us prepared for whatever they have planned in 2024. I think is the longest explanation for why they're doing what they're doing.